Hey everybody, Jared from Bergstrom. Just wanted to go through and do a quick comparison between the 2021 Bolt EV and the 2022 Bolt EV from Chevrolet. As you can see, I got the 21 here on the left and the 22 here on the right. So as you can see, the styling is quite a bit different, but I want to go through the size first. So the size on these two is almost identical. The 2022 is actually 3/4 of an inch shorter and a 1/2 inch taller. The width is still the same, and almost every single dimension from the 21 to the 22 is identical. The only difference is actually the legroom in the rear. So we'll take a look at the 21 first. So in the rear here, you actually have 41.6 inches of rear leg room at the maximum. And then if we take a look over here at the 22, you actually gain about 3 inches of leg room in the rear, which for somebody sitting in the back, that's actually quite a bit of knee space. So that is really the only difference as far as size is concerned between the two. Now you'll notice the outside has a little bit of a different look to it, and personally I think it looks a lot more modern and a lot more sleek. So you see over here we got the running lights on top and then the actual lights down below, whereas over on this side the running lights were kind of below. You can see them kind of right here, and then the lights were just at the cluster on the inside. A little bit of a side profile here. You see it's still got that sleek design. But then if we go over to the 22, you'll see how the front is kind of sloped a little bit more, and it actually gives you a little bit more visibility facing forward. The other big difference is just the design in the front grille. You can see they got rid of that kind of plastic thing behind the bow tie and just completely made it one piece instead of having that extra piece there. Then they made the grills a little bit different down below. Same little bit of air intake underneath as it is in the old one. So my favorite thing on the interior that they changed is actually on the dash. You'll see this kind of like plastic, almost like textured piece over here, and then they have it over there as well, and then the surround in the center. That was probably the biggest complaint about this generation Bolt, is that people didn't necessarily like that. And that's one of the things that they changed on the 22. So you notice on the 22 we got this nice leather dash here instead of that plastic that continues all the way around over to the driver's side. So they listened to everybody on that and they got rid of it. Another big change is actually the shifter. So you'll notice on this one, we got this little kind of knob here in the center, and it wasn't all that intuitive. You actually had to push this little button on the side and then pull it backwards to go forward and push it forward and to the left to go backwards, which actually seems kind of counterintuitive if you ask me. So they got rid of that whole kind of knob and changed it to these buttons here in the center. So you'll notice here in the center, you just got the 4 buttons. So you just push to park, pull for reverse, push for neutral, pull for drive. And that's really, really simple. You also have this button down here. That's the one pedal driving. There was a way to do that in the Bolt, but it wasn't all that obvious. You had to actually pull it down twice and put it into L and then do a couple of other things, which was kind of a process. It's in here. It's just one button. The other difference is just the whole kind of steering wheel and center console setup. So you see we got the steering wheel right here. This will look pretty familiar for the most part. And then we have the screen over here with all of our climate controls. And then we have this kind of little center console type thing down here in the middle. But if we go to the new one, they changed it up quite a bit. And personally, I think it's a little bit better. They used a lot of this space here in the center, just having it open. And they give you a little cubby hole here for storage, like your phone or something like that. And then they have other storage down below. And the big difference is this giant screen that they have. It is significantly larger than the one in the previous model. So you'll see here in the center, the screen is significantly larger. Then you got the home button over here, and then you got your 2 dials to select things, and this is all still a touch screen, just much larger. And then you'll notice down below, they have all of the climate control buttons down here instead of on the screen. And I think these buttons, they feel a lot nicer. They feel a little bit more higher end, and they don't feel as kind of plasticky and cheap like the other ones do. And the one thing I think is weird, in the previous one, the heated steering wheel button was on the steering wheel, but now you'll notice it's over here. So I think that's kind of weird because there's actually a spot over here that it used to be. So unless they changed this spot here for something else, that's where the heated steering wheel button was supposed to be. You also have your heated seat buttons over here, so by pushing it down, turns the heat seat on, and then you just push it down, and then it toggles between high, medium, and low. You also have your auto and AC and other climate controls there as well. One thing I also think is cool is this little button right here. You have sport mode, which previously wasn't available. It gives you just a little bit more spirited driving feel. And then you have your lane keep assist with lane departure warning button over here. And then you have your park brake here. Then you have a really similar looking gauge cluster here. Should be pretty similar feel to what you had previously. Not too much change there. And then the last thing that they really changed was just the interior in general. You'll notice a lot of times on the previous generation, they all had this kind of two-tone cloth interior where you got the dark in the center and that kind of lighter trimming around the outside. And I don't think you could really option for anything else unless you go up to leather. Now on this one, this also has a cloth interior. But you'll notice it is all the one color. I know a lot of people kind of had complaints about the two-tone, didn't really want the two-tone. So they gave you the option to go with the all gray or all black like this one has here. So there you guys go. That's the big differences between the 21 and the 22 Bolt EV. Hopefully that answers all your questions, and I'll see you guys in the next one.